Okay, but actually, I'm looking for a guy that's unvaxxed, drives truck. Homestead, Trump guy. Unvaxxed, drives truck. Homestead, Trump guy. I'm looking for a guy. I'm looking for a guy. I'm looking.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Unvaxxed, drives truck. Homestead, Trump guy. Unvaxxed, drives truck. Homestead, Trump guy.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Happy Friday. I hope each and every single one of you guys had an amazing week thus far. We got a lot of things to cover. Those of you that are catching this on the live stream, come on in, come on in, come on in. Happy Friday. And if you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section whenever, however you're watching this. Let's see what is up. Hope everybody is doing well. What is going on? Lily, Gina in the house. Just a number. What is going on? Finding Dory. Shout out to you guys. Did you guys have a great week this week? It has been absolutely chilly in Nevada. That's why I got my flannel. I have an assortment of flannels that you guys will see me switch on and out of, and I'm gonna be rocking the flannels. I like flannels. Gina says, "Smash the like button." Yes, smash the like button. Share this, subscribe it. We got a lot of things to cover. We're gonna cover the Biden cover-up with the green new scam and how money was funneled, and this is why Medicaid is going up. We have John Thon talking about the recession appointments potentially, because we've had a lot of new draft picks coming into the cabinet. We got Tulsi Gabbard, we got Vivek. Vivek and Elon aren't necessarily in the cabinet, they're independent. We have RFK, that's a big one. Then we're jumping into the Biden administration, and something really cool happened last night. There was a gala where Donald Trump spoke. We're going to jump into that. We're not going to jump into his speech, but we're going to jump into some highlights of it. And we have some lawsuits looming. We have elections, a potential recount in Buck County. It's going to be great. Come on in. We have Tom Homan. Do you guys like Tom? Do you guys like the pick of Tom Homan? I personally do. We need that. We got Matt Gaetz, and then we have some highlights from our favorite leftist bias reporter, Scott Jennings. We got him. Gina says, I'm obsessed with flannels. I have a bunch of them. Yep, me too. That's what Gina says. Gina says, I have a bunch of flannels. I actually picked up a couple last season from Costco. The red one that I wear is from Costco. Finding Dory says, I love flannels too. I'm telling you what, Tyson, it's been so euphoric since we won. This is what Gina says. Yes, it has been very energizing. I'm walking around with my Trump gear, and I'm getting the Jeep nods. I don't know if you guys have a Jeep. I don't have a Jeep, but my buddy had a Jeep, and he always got this nod, like, and the fingers, like, you know, when I'm wearing the Trump gear, when I'm wearing the hat. What is up, Joy? Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. Lily says, first time able to catch your live. I just got back from a 10-day Mediterranean vacation. That is awesome. I love that. I need a vacation. I hope the Mediterranean cruise was amazing. Where did you cruise to around the Mediterranean? we are going to jump into the green new scam right now. We're going to jump into the green new scam. And this is why Medicaid rates are rising. Gina says, I'm wearing the hat to the Amish market later today. I hope, let me know what you're going to get from the Amish market. I love the Amish market, by the way. They're great. My one of my friends, actually, her mom lived in Wisconsin, and I like squeaky cheese. I just like squeaky cheese. They have the best milk. They have the best cheeses, the best candies. It's absolutely great. What's going on, Margie? Hope you're doing well. Phyllis, hope you're doing amazing. Let's jump in to this right here. So the Biden administration took out money from Medicare to use it for the green new scam. Now, this is the reason why premiums are skyrocketing.
Thank you, sir. We've been doing some reporting along with AMAC and others to highlight this little ruse that the Biden-Harris administration did a couple years ago. They took some money from Medicare, spent it on green energy stuff. Now, all of a sudden, we discover it's going to result in a massive increase in Part D premiums for Medicare recipients. Joe Biden tried to hide it from the election, put some $5 billion of subsidies just to keep the increases past the election. I know you're on top of this case. How do we fix this, and how bad was the Biden cover-up?
Bad.
John, you're exactly right. We've seen a lot of Biden cover-ups, as you have reported. But let's just say this. We saw the Biden-Harris administration raid Medicare in the hundreds of billions of dollars in what they refer to as the Inflation Reduction Act. I call it the Inflation Expansion Act. And inflation's only gone up since they passed that legislation. But what they did, they put measures in place rating Medicare, and now who's going to pay? Seniors are going to pay with higher premiums. But you know what? They tried to hide it before the election. They put through $5 billion, $5+ billion to insurance companies to prevent those premiums to go up before the election. The election's over with. Now the seniors are going to see the real damage that the Biden-Harris administration has done to their pocketbooks.
Yes, and the Congressional Budget Office, their report suggests that this cost-shifting policy will push Medicare costs directly onto taxpayers. So many critics argued that the recent Medicare cost reduction measures were really aimed at election year gains, but they undermine the Medicare's fiscal stability. So my question, sir, is how does the next administration regain the trust of seniors and the trust that they have in the Medicare system?
I think if you look, seniors do trust the incoming president, the 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, because he's been there before. And we saw that whenever he was in the White House, he protected and preserved Social Security and Medicare. He campaigned on that. He follows through on his campaign promises, unlike a lot of other politicians that I've served with. And I am so excited about his opportunity, and I'm so excited about his cabinet that he's creating. He is announcing and appointing stellar individuals that's going to make America even greater than it has ever been.
Now, you know, I think this is just what I feel, and let me know in the chat. I think what the current administration is doing is and we'll get into this video here in a little bit, but they're funneling all this money, and they're creating almost like this chaotic collapse prior to the new administration coming in. And you know, this morning when I woke up, I'm like, wow, all these things are going on, and this new administration, 47 and his cabinet, have to undo and fix all the last minute edits that this current administration has done. What do you guys think about that? Dory says, I always tie a flannel around my waist. I'm in Southern California. Southern California is absolutely beautiful. I love California. California is a great place to live, just high taxes, and the property cost is crazy, but I love it. Margie says, Homan isn't taking any ish, and they already see it. They already see it. They already see it coming. I asked Lily a question earlier before I sent this video in, where she traveled around her cruise. She says Barcelona, Naples, Florence, Monte Carlo. Oh man, beautiful, beautiful. I heard Barcelona's absolutely gorgeous. I haven't been to Barcelona. I actually did a backpacking trip in Eastern Europe. It was a 30-day backpacking trip. That was a great time. Gina says she's craving Amish onions, tomatoes, and peppers, and they have amazing fish sandwiches. I am a sucker for a good fish sandwich, by the way. What's up, Justin? Come on in. Anybody new, come on in. Come on in. What's up, Mona? Hope you're doing amazing. Yeah, I am a sucker for a good fish sandwich. But anyways, we have Mr. Thon here, because the leftist bias media is in uproars about all the cabinet picks. They're saying that, oh, all these nominees, they might not be selected, but what they're saying is that a potential recess appointment could be used for 47 for Donald Trump to fill the cabinets. And here is that clip.
So you've said that you would do recess appointments if it came to that. What's the threshold for getting to that point for recess appointments?
Well, what I said is, Brett, and I think this is that all options are on the table, including recess appointments. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we'll find out fairly quickly whether the Democrats want to play ball or not. And I think part of it is getting these folks. We'll start having confirmation hearings as soon as the new Senate is sworn in January. President takes the oath of office January 20th. By the time he takes the oath of office, hopefully a lot of those nominees will be through their confirmation hearings and will be ready to act on them on the Senate floor. And then it's a question of how much do the Democrats resist or object or try to block those nominations from going forward. And we're going to grind them out. I mean, we're just going to keep consistently moving, and we'll see what kind of cooperation we get. And then we'll, like I said, we'll make decisions about where do we go from there.
So you've said.
So if you guys are familiar with a recess appointment, this was an article that was posted on AP News, kind of highlighting the recess appointment. Trump over the weekend demanded that Republican leaders in the Senate, who will hold majority in the chamber next year, agree to allow recess appointments. I'll post this article in the description below once I'm done with the live, but this is an opportunity to kind of go around if the nominees don't get approved, which leftist bias media is in uproars. Mainstream media just in general is in uproars about all of this, specifically the RFK pick. I don't know if you guys saw, but stocks and shares of pharmaceutical companies had significantly decreased after the nomination of RFK. They are scared. They are scared. They are shaking in their boots. They are like, oh my gosh, we're going to, it's crazy to me that they continually presume that RFK is an anti-vax person. I got to say that quietly. But anyways, and here is the here is this individual saying that it is the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, right? Anthony Blinken announces every dollar that we have at our disposal will be pushed to Ukraine, right? And if this doesn't make you sick as a United States citizen,
We're
working to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to effectively defend itself. The United States continues to step up. We've obligated just recently and pushed out the door another $8 billion in security assistance for Ukraine. That was in September. Another almost $500 million just a few weeks ago. And President Biden is committed to making sure that every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door.
That is crazy to me. He literally says every single dollar that we have at our disposal.
Every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now.
That is absolutely ridiculous to me. There are people in Florida, North Carolina that absolutely need help. FEMA's getting exposed because they were avoiding individuals that are known Republicans with Trump signs in their yard. And we're sending money overseas. And since the announcement of Elon Musk and Vivek, a lot of exposure has come out regarding where some of these government funds are going to. They're going to see if starfish are more aggressive when they use drugs, gambling addictions with monkeys, and drag shows in Egypt. In Egypt, it's crazy to me that this money is going to these places and these areas that aren't related to the United States of America. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me. And I'm very excited to see what Elon and Vivek are going to do with Doge. Justin says, look at the old admin employees being what is called burrowed in. Yes. If you look at the old folk, if you look at that, they don't have any qualifications either. Phil says Medicare shouldn't be touched. My Medicare Part B cost me $178 a month, and my SSI gives me an increase. Your Medicaid goes up also. Absolutely. I don't think Medicaid should be touched either. Now, this was a cool speech that I saw last night. I was going to stream this live, but it's all good. It's all good. So we have Stallone. Do you guys remember Sly Stallone? So I didn't know that, Sly was a Trump supporter, right? He was at this gala event in Mar-a-Lago, and he introduces Donald Trump. Sly Stallone, oh, Adrian! I love the original Rocky movies. The original Rocky movies were great. 1 and 2 were great. The ones with Michael B. Jordan were 3 was, they just started doing too many. They just started doing too many Rocky movies. But here is Sly Stallone introducing 47.
Rocky, if you remember, the first image was a picture of Jesus. It says Resurrection AC Club. I found a church that had been converted to a boxing ring. So the image pans down from Jesus onto Rocky being hit. And at that moment, he was a chosen person. And that's how I began the journey. Something was going to happen. This man was going to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump. We are in the presence of a really mythical character. I love mythology. And this individual does not exist on this planet. Nobody in the world could have pulled off what he pulled off. So I'm in awe. And I'll just say this, and I mean it. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations. Bye.
Bye. Sly Stallone. So the American First Policy Institute was founded in 2021. It's to support policy and agenda for Donald Trump. And it was really cool to see Mr. Sly Stallone introducing Donald Trump 47. Finding Dory says, I watch Rocky movies every Thanksgiving. I'm a fan of the Rocky movies. I like the original Rambos too. Let's jump into this here. So this article came out, and I'm glad that they're doing this. I am glad that this is happening. Donald Trump is suing CBS News for $10 billion over edits on 60-minute Harris interview. And he's he's looking at to sue some other places as well. Former President Donald Trump filed a $10 billion lawsuit against CBS News on Thursday, October 31st, accusing the network of manipulating the interview with Vice President Kamala Harris on 60 Minutes. Trump's legal team claims the network misrepresented Harris's answers in a way that could influence the election. I don't know why I got this pop-up here. I love, by the way, Straight Arrow News. It's great network. It's not a plug. I'm not paid by them, but it gives you the adjustment on whether they're leaning left or leaning right. It's a great place. According to court filings, the full interview aired with different responses from Harris than what was shown on the promotional clip that led Trump to claim the edit was partisan act aimed to deceive voters. We already know, right? Her entire campaign was just completely manipulated, and actually somebody, my mind sent me this on Discord. He said, let's do the math. Kamala Harris's election budget was $1 billion divided by 90 days. So $1 billion divided by 90 days. That is $11 million spent a day by the Democrat Party. And they managed to go $20 million in debt. And added money to our deficit. And I wonder, I haven't dove into this yet, but I wonder what happens to that money. What happens to the debt money? Does Kamala Harris have to go to work like Doug says? Does she have to go to work? Put her head down and go to work? How does that money get recouped? And she was lying to the donors, saying that they were leading, that they were competitive, and to get more money. Apparently, Oprah got $1 million. Apparently, Beyonce got money for 4 minutes. It is crazy to me. 4 minutes, $10 million. Beyonce, right? She didn't even perform. She didn't even perform. Now, election officials in Pennsylvania are stating that the Senate race was cheated and they're looking for a recount. Excuse me? What about 2020? Lost audio. Hold on. There we go.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct. Yep.
Not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
We reject all three.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, right? They want to recount. But 2020, they weren't allowing the recount, right? It's bananas. This is what Savannah Hernandez, shout out to Savannah Hernandez, had to say about this. I like Savannah Hernandez.
Things have been absolutely insane. Number one, regarding Pennsylvania, Bob Casey just needs to concede. It's absolutely hilarious to me that the Democrats who have been attacking and utilizing the DOJ to come after American citizens and President Donald Trump for the past 4 years for trying to overturn an election are now questioning election results because they do not like the fact that the country is awake, that people are pushing back, and we just want prosperity and freedom. And again, I can't thank you enough for that, Alex. Every single time I go on a show, anytime I'm even on my own show personally, I always have to bring you up because you really did instill the spirit of 1776 within me and within so many people. And you woke us up to just how corrupt this government is, not only currently, but has been for decades.
Yep. Justin says, I thought we couldn't recount. Exactly. And now they're wanting a recount. It just doesn't make sense. Kathy says, I wish they would sue ABC for billions to make Bob Iger pay for all the View clowns. Put Sonny, Whoopi, David, and Davis trash off TV forever. I heard in a recent article that they're looking to have more conservative viewpoints on The View. I don't know. I know that there's doing, what's up, Shelly? I know that they're doing a mass reconfiguration in a lot of these networks and a lot of these news outlets, newspaper outlets. I don't even want to call it a newspaper because I don't even get a newspaper anymore, but they're getting a lot of reorganization in these areas, and they want more conservative views. Justin says, Kathy, but it is free speech. We don't have. Yep. NYC in the house. Dory says, recount Arizona then and all of 2020. I agree with that. Can we go back in time? Can we go back? Now, I saw this video last night. This was AOC. Oh, AOC. Right? How many of you guys are fans of AOC? Right? You guys might bite me for this, but I think, she's a very intelligent individual. I think that the Dems got a hold of her, and they want her to swing too far to the left. But she has some decent talking points, I think, but and she's pretty, by the way. But that doesn't mean that she should be in her seat. But recently, she had changed her Twitter handle, going from she, her to Congresswoman, and eliminated her pronouns. Gina says, I don't hate AOC. And then Simon says, AOC is dumb as dirt. But this is AOC talking to Joy Reid. Joy Reid, whose hairline is getting crazy. It's getting crazy ridiculous back there. But she actually commends Trump for this. And she's been, I don't know. She's been swaying it. Is she converting? Is she converting? I don't know. Or is she becoming more balanced in the Democrat Party? Justin says, AOC changed her bio on Twitter. She's saying what she says to match whatever she needs. Yeah. You know, she's smart for that. I give her that, right? She's changing whatever she needs to change in order to get votes. But listen to what she had to say to Joy Reid. Listen
all
to
of this debate that people are talking about with this woke thing, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's because we care about trans people, and that's why.
And by the way, only Donald Trump cared about trans people because he was the one running $130 million worth of ads. The Harris campaign said nothing about this issue.
That's right. That's right. And listen, the ads, it's not to even deny the fact that these ads were effective in certain areas. What I think people are paying too much attention to is the first half of that ad, which says Kamala Harris is, or that said, Kamala Harris is for they, them. Everyone's focusing on that. They're not focusing on the second half of that ad where he said, Donald Trump is for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Democrats.
She's like, which? Why are you saying that on my network? Why are you saying that on my network? Look at her face. I think Finding Dory says AOC, excuse me, is having a come to Jesus moment. And I think partially because I believe she's pregnant and she realizes that only women can get pregnant, right? Like, she's like, well, I guess these guys are right.
For they, them. Everyone's focusing on that. They're not focusing on the second half of that ad where he said, Donald Trump is for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Democrats very often in their messaging, they speak in terms and in concepts and not in the second person. I care about you. And political races are not about one candidate versus another candidate. Too often it gets pigeonholed like that. It is a race to convince a person about who cares about you more.
Let me ask you.
Let me, there's Joy Reid's face. Here it is, right there. Okay. You know, my mind said, is that the actress from Wicked? Oh, man. You know, I think I don't necessarily trust AOC. I don't trust her because she does do whatever she needs to do to get votes. And we immediately saw that. And she immediately hopped on her TikTok account and asked the viewers asked her Republican viewers what podcasts and this and that, because I feel that she might do a run, right? And she wants to remain in power, just like somebody had mentioned in the chat. She's a Nancy Pelosi puppet, right? And she's just kind of doing what she needs to do in order to maintain her power seat. I don't necessarily trust AOC. I don't trust her. But I feel she's swaying a little bit. And the ad that she's speaking about is an ad that Donald Trump ran on football, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and it got the viewers in. Let me see what I'm looking at the comments here. Chameleon. Somebody says chameleon. Yeah. You know, I just wanted to highlight, right? I wanted to highlight this moment between AOC and Joy Reid. Let's see what else. Yes, she is a Nancy Pelosi puppet. This is what Jenny says. She is Nancy Pelosi puppet. She's a Nancy Pelosi puppet. But I think she would try to turn on Nancy. Nancy actually is going up for re-election in 2026. She's like 135 years old now. So by that time, depending on how much, whatever they do, how much blood she sucks from other people, she might live another 200 years. Who knows? Kathy says, evil speaks in forked tongues. She's not swaying. She's being groomed by Good point. That is a good point. That is a great point. I wanted to jump into this clip with the one and only Mr. Tom Homan, right? I like this pick with Tom Homan. I really do, because we already see what's going on. People, the Mexican border, they're saying, hey, do not come. Don't come. And Tom Homan is a savage.
Trump supporters are. Tom Homan joins us tonight. And, sir, it's good to talk to you again. The media is about to smear you as public enemy number one for the job you're about to do. I suspect, though, you're not too worried about that.
No, they're already smearing me, but I don't care. Yeah. I really don't. I mean, you know, I get tired, and every time I read a bad story, just it's like putting fuel on my fire. They just fire me up. So keep writing all the bad stuff you want, because I don't care. They're not going to shut me up. I'm not going to go away. I won't be intimidated. And as far as Governor Pritzker, you know, saying he's got this law now where, you know, they can't help us and we can't even detain people in their county jails. What does that mean? It means he's hurting these people even more, because we're going to arrest them regardless of what he says. And we have to take them out of state, away from their families, away from their attorneys. That's exactly what we're going to do. And using the term citizens and law-abiding, let me remind him, you cross the border legally, it is a crime. Every illegal alien in this country who enters this country illegally is a criminal by definition, because they violated Title 8 United States Code 1325, illegal entry to the United States. If they're deported and came back, it's a felony. So they're not law-abiding. They broke the law coming to the United States, and we're going to find them, and we're going to deport them.
Yeah, and I think there's even been Democrats that have admitted that they're all just gaming this asylum system too. These are not asylum seekers. 9 out of 10 of them, if not more, are clearly not asylum seekers in any way whatsoever. Most Americans think that illegal immigrants in this country should be deported. I think that's the most important thing that we all have to remember as this process goes on, because they are going to have the cameras out and they are going to be finding every sob story that they can to make this seem like it is such a devastating thing. People voted for this.
People voted for it because a lot of sob stories. I've met hundreds of angel moms and dads who were separated from their children from ever because they buried them. We've had young ladies raped and murdered by people that were released in this country by the Biden administration. There's a lot of sad stories. Under the Biden administration, almost 4,000 aliens have died crossing this border because of the open border. We got 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl. How many parents buried their children because of the poison coming across that open border? Yep. We got a 600% increase in sex trafficking. That's a sad story. So, and we got a record number of people on terrorist watch lists coming across the borders. There's a lot of sad stories to tell. But bottom line is, for these governors and mayors to speak up saying they're going to put roadblocks in front of us, President Trump has made it clear. We're going to prioritize the public safety threats and national security threats first. So you're telling me, as a mayor of a city or a governor, you don't want us to take public safety threats out of your community? Yeah. You don't want us to take national security threats out of your community? To me, that's ridiculous. But the thing that amazes me every day I wake up, I started as a police officer in New York. My father was a cop. My grandfather was a cop. Cops used to be respected. Now, those who enforce the law, all of a sudden, we're the bad guys. And those who violate the law, they're the victims. The whole thing's upside down.
Yeah, well, that's the modern left. I mean, that's why this country's so screwed up. That's why our cities are unlivable, have been for 4 years, and they're just now starting to wake up to that. Tren de Aragua, speaking of which, this is one of the worst gangs in the world. Venezuelan gang has taken over apartment buildings in some cases. The gang is operating in multiple states in this country. Your job is going to be removing some of the most violent people in the world from inside of our country. And I'm wondering, that's really dangerous work. Are you worried about, potential gun battles breaking out as you try to do this kind of work?
I'm very concerned. I mean, I've carried a badge and gun for 34 years, and I buried Border Patrol agents. I buried ICE agents, which is the worst part of the job in the world. Handing a flag to a child or a spouse is one of the worst things about the job. But look, I'm very concerned because these are dangerous people. But we got a job to do. We're going to do it. Tren de Aragua, MS-13, they're on notice. Their days of terror are coming to an end. My gang's bigger than their gang. and they're going to be a priority. We need to get them out of here. And we need, and the President Trump, when he gets back in office, Venezuela keeps pushing back. They don't want these people back. It's going to take a strong president to make Venezuela take them back.
Right.
And whether you take away their visas and shut down their visas, or whether you take some sort of embargo, or whether you take their international aid away, something. President Trump has proven, when I was ICE director, El Salvador won't take back MS-13. It took President Trump 2 days before he gave me the green light to load up some planes and send them south, because whatever discussion you have with President El Salvador, it works. So I can't wait for President Trump to get back in, because he would demand action.
Yeah. No, it's going to be very interesting to watch. It's just going to be the polar opposite of what the last 4 years have been. Was there a reason that do you know there was a reason that you were named border czar and not head of ICE or head of DHS? Is there an advantage to being a border czar in this situation?
I think with the border the way it is right now, this is catastrophic. A border failure, right? We went for the most secure border under President Trump, with the numbers at a 45-year low, illegal immigration down, 83 to 90%, depending on what time frame you looked at. This is President Trump's number one issue. It was number one issue in the campaign. And because there's so much to fix on the border and this big deportation operation, he wanted to create a position that focuses solely on that. The Secretary of Homeland Security, not only they have ICE and CBP, they got TSA, right? Yeah. They got FEMA, that needs to be fixed. They got Secret Service, that needs to be fixed. They got the Coast Guard, they got all this stuff. Personally, I think it's the worst job in the federal government, because you got all these agencies, many of them under this administration have been torn apart. So I think President Trump saw, look, this is a big issue for me. I want somebody that's going to spend 100% of the time on this. I'll work very closely with Governor Noem. It's not like we're going to be working separately. I'll work very closely with her, but I can take a lot off her plate, because I've done this for 3.5 decades. Right. I'll be working very closely with Steve Miller. I report directly to the president, so I shouldn't get a lot of pushback. So I think President Trump was smart by doing this.
Yeah, yeah. We found a random tweet last night on X that I thought was.
Sorry, this profile pic of Mr. Gary, but I wanted to jump into some of these comments here. Dragons says, "Get the criminals out." Kathy mentioned she says that there might be a potential ground war looming. I don't think that they're going to go peacefully and quietly. I don't think so as well, but I think it's going to. Let me retract my thought a little bit. They're not going to go peacefully and quietly, but we have the resources and tools to get them out appropriately. The big thing is the kids, right? Tom Homan mentioned this in a previous interview regarding S trafficking. S trafficking is huge, and we want to get that stopped ASAP. We want to get these kids back, the 325,000 kids, and stop that number from increasing. So I don't think that they're going to go peacefully and quietly, but I think we have the tools and resources to actually make it happen. This is just what I feel. Justin says he would love to see Oscar Blue involved in the border somehow. I love Oscar Blue. He's been reporting on the border for a very long time. He's been doing a lot of good work and exposing what is happening at the border, because they have these family members and people just sitting on the border and feces and all this other stuff. It's almost crimes against humanity here.
It's great. It said Tom Homan seems impervious to female emotional blackmailing. Incredibly important quality. It's a funny tweet. It reminded us of this moment on 60 Minutes. Let's take a look.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation?
This is one of the most savage moments from Tom Homan. Milf and Coffee says, you think Gary profile pic's the thing. His profile pic is absolutely hilarious, by the way. Shout out to Milf and Coffee. His profile pic is absolutely hilarious. But let me jump into what Tom Homan had to say here.
Without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
It's not a job for the faint of heart, what you're about to do. As you get started on it, I mean, is there anything you want to tell the American people to expect as we get started here on January 20th?
Well, look, I'm not heartless, but let me explain something to you, and to your viewers. I spent 3.5 decades doing this, and the tragedies I've seen in my career, I can talk about now, but there's times I can't even talk about it, I break down. Look, I stood in back of a tractor trailer with 19 dead aliens at my feet, including a 5-year-old little boy, all stripped down their underwear because they baked to death. I was in charge of that investigation. I was on the crime scene, and it changed me forever. I've talked to young girls as young as 9 years old. 9. Got on my knees and talked to these little girls who were raped multiple times by criminal cartels. Everything innocent and pure in that little girl was taken from them, and they'll never be the same. And their lives are ruined. So the 34 years of tragedies I have seen made me who I am today. Securing the border is going to save lives. That's what this is about. And I'm not going to apologize for it. So when people say, well, that's kind of a hard response, you got to understand, people, while you and I are talking right now, Rob, while you and I are talking right now, a child's going to die in that border tonight. Women are being raped by members of cartel tonight. So we need to secure the border and save lives. And that's what it's all about. And the southern border is the biggest national security vulnerability this country has seen since 9/11. We know that the majority of the Border Patrol is off patrol taking care of these people. I get it. But when you take 70% of the agents off the line, that's when the fentanyl comes across to kill 250,000 Americans. That's when the sex trafficking is up 600%. That's when the no-inspected terrorists are going to sneak in. The cartels create gaps in the system so they can pass the bad people through that don't want to be fingerprinted, don't want to be vetted. Over 2 million we know about. So yeah, I don't mince words. We need to secure the border, and I won't apologize for it.
And you don't see any tears over any of the descriptions you just made over the trafficking into this country. What we've seen for the last few years, they don't care at all about that, but they are going to scream and cry when we start the deportation. That is true. I've got 10 seconds left.
You know, when he was talking about those kids and the families being, oh man, that irks me the most. That irks me the most. And he gave that statistic that people are being murdered and sexually assaulted. That irks me the most. Johnny Sunglasses says Dems are mad because Trump is getting rid of the future voters of the Democrat Party. Yep. They sent all these folks over to sanctuary cities to make them blue, Justin says, my advice, go visit family. If they're out of town, gather food. Yep. Keep your family close and pray. Yes, we have to pray. Jenny, yes, I've been diving into James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe's have been doing a really good job regarding this border. And then there is a good documentary that I have not watched yet. It's on the Tucker Carlson network, Line in the Sand. Have you guys seen that at all? Gina says, ship them back. Milf says, deport them tonight. American romantic style. Yep. The Dems have no tears for child trafficking. No, I think maybe that's a deeper conversation to be had, but presumably, potentially, I feel, we see that with the D and E files. Maybe they have some things to do with it. There was an individual, I'm not going to go too much into it because it's like a tangent, but one of Diddy's associates purchased 40 acres of land back in 2021, right next to the border wall. I don't know. Maybe there's a correlation there. Jenny says, yes, Line in the Sand is scary. I'm gonna watch that this afternoon. I'll watch that this afternoon. Border czar term will show a great contrast between the Biden, great contrast between the Biden administration and the Trump administration. Everything is going to be sharp in contrast from the Biden administration versus the Trump administration. I agree with that. Now I'm going to jump into some RFK, right? How many of you guys are a fan of RFK? Maha, make America healthy again. The media is in an absolute frenzy for the pick or the nomination of RFK. They are freaking out. Pharmaceutical stocks dropped over the last couple days, or yesterday when the pick came out. And they're absolutely freaking out. Absolutely freaking out. Coconut Milk said, DNC, yes, I'm going to put this on the screen. DNC is part of it. I feel that 100%. That's just personally what I feel. There's so much non-publicized evidence about this that I feel that you are on the money with this. Justin says, I honestly don't think that regular Dems do not know how many kids are gone. The algorithms are geared in such a messed up way. Yes. All right. We're going to jump into RFK, right? Now, this is a collage of mainstream media absolutely losing their ish because RFK was nominated.
Hope you like measles. Thanks to all of you. This just in, President-elect Donald Trump has just announced a new name to be added to his incoming administration.
You're exactly right? He's just flooding the zone with shit to hope to get maybe other appointees down the line because they got to absorb these bunch of idiots, right, that are coming out right now.
Oh my God. I mean, those of us who have spent our lifetime, kind of decades working in and around in HHS, I'm not kidding, Nicole, my texts are flying off the chain, both Democrats and Republicans saying, this can't be real. Someone must have gotten this wrong. This can't be possible. And now the second underlying chain, if there's some silver linings, the second thought I had is he can't get confirmed, can he? But
I don't know what you want me to say. I am just at a loss because we're watching something happen in slow motion that is terrifying. You know, the reason we have a great country is because there are pillars in place. There are columns and structures, just like in your house, columns and pillars that you don't see, but they keep things in a good place. They keep things in a good direction. We have healthy children because there are people who've made sure that there are things in place for that. And right now we're seeing termites unleashed on everything. And this is a termite appointment. We know for sure that Bobby Kennedy is a vaccine denier.
I'll get into it here in a minute.
Vaccine denier. He denies being a denier. But
this is the absolute triumph and takeover of the Republican Party by MAGA. And it will be the takeover of the U.S. government by MAGA if the Senate lets all of these people go through.
You know, it's interesting to me that these folks are freaking out. When you think about this in advertisement terms for CNN, MSNBC, right? We are one of only two places that can advertise pharmaceutical drugs on television. And where do you think most of their advertisement money comes from on these networks? MSDNC, CNN, all these places, pharmaceutical companies pay for advertisement slots on these platforms. They're going to lose money, right? Because at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. They don't want healthy people because non-healthy people don't need prescription drugs. The biggest wazoo that I can share just through my personal experience is that we can ultimately heal ourselves, right? Some of the medicines are great. Some of the medicines are useful in times, but they're going to lose money. And Bobby also went on to say about cereals and additional byproducts in food. Kathy says, people should check out what's going on in Poland. Their country is healthy, happy, and illegals do not cross the border illegally. They're going to eliminate all these byproducts from foods, all these additional additives that are making people sick, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. Now, here is you guys remember Stephen Bannon. Rachel Maddow went on this, Rachel Madcow went on this almost like defamatory rant about RFK and the cabinet picks.
Is that everything shrivels in government other than the will of the leader, right? So you don't necessarily put a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in charge of HHS because you're hoping for great things from HHS. I mean, Matt Gaetz, among all the other things we can say about Matt Gaetz, he has explicitly proposed abolishing the Justice Department, not specifically just abolishing the FBI and the ATF, but talking about abolishing the Justice Department. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, as the Director of National Intelligence, the idea that Tulsi Gabbard, in a normal circumstance, could get a security clearance to be like a Walmart-style greeter at any U.S. intelligence agency, let alone get past the security barriers, is insane. So you do that because you want the worst for these agencies, because you want the worst for the U.S. government, because you think that the U.S. government is worthless. That's part of consolidating power, to make the U.S. government nothing other than the leader and people who will do what he says. And there not being any repository of expertise, let alone, just general day-to-day know-how anywhere. So it's a sort of, as Steve Bannon used to say, it's a sort of Leninist project, right? Destroy the state. This is the cabinet that you nominate to not to run the U.S. government, to do anything, but to destroy the U.S. government, so that the U.S. government can be fundamentally reimagined as something much more like a unitary.
Much better, period. Actually being open with where the money's going. For her to say that Tulsi Gabbard cannot even be qualified for a Walmart greeter, that is absolutely ridiculous. Justin says non-healthy people do not think clearly and they're tired. Exactly. And he also mentions the certain chemicals in the water that makes people complacent. Yes. Fluoride. For me, if you've done some back notions on fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. Bright Star 33. I completely reversed type 2 diabetes and autoimmune disease simply by diet and lifestyle changes. Kudos to you, Bright Star 33. That is awesome. Everybody give kudos to Bright Star 33. That is awesome. That is absolutely amazing. And that's what they don't want, right? Because then you're no longer on insulin. You're no longer on antidepressants. Okay, cool. Now, if you weren't in that situation and you had to take all these different medicines, okay, this medicine also gives you diarrhea. Also, this medicine also makes your eyes bleed and your knees hurt and your back brittle. Oh, your back's brittle and you got diarrhea. Take this medicine. Take this medicine. Take this medicine. And then all of a sudden you have. I've seen it. Because a little backstory. I used to have a mental health facility here where we treated individuals that were getting off of SSRIs. We did a more holistic approach for individuals that were suffering from anxiety and depression. And I've seen the amount of medicines and all this garbage that doctors push just to get money.
Authoritarian or autocratic, for lack of a better term, system.
Deconstruct the administrative state, ma'am. Let's get your lingo right. Rachel Maddow. Tulsi Gabbard is a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army. Okay, she served over in, I don't know, outside of Syria or wherever we send the army today. So she has a security clearance, ma'am, and it has nothing to do with Walmart. And if I was you, ma'am, I would watch what you say about people. When you go after and smear someone who's put their life on the line when you've done nothing. You sat on your ass up there at your big house in Connecticut, you know, with your friends and your elitist. You've done nothing for this country. Came out of Stanford. All you've done is try to destroy this country and the people in this country.
Mr. Bannon, you are absolutely 100% correct. I like Mr. Bannon. He has nothing to lose at this point. So he's just reaming all of these folks that are trying to dismantle the cabinet and dismantle these picks. Justin says, yes, a pineal gland is calcified from fluoride. Yep. Leg said, I read the RFK book on Fauci. It is a must read, a real eye-opener. He's not against vaccines. He's against not having a choice. And, you know, when we think back of that time during C-19 when they mandated these vaccines for people, you couldn't continue your job if you didn't take this particular thing. And they're not accurately tested. And that is one of the components that RFK is looking at. None of these vaccines are properly tested. They just push them out. MILF says, absolutely horrible when dude feels not welcome in his own body. Yep. Bannon is on point. The real Dr. Fauci. Yes, I think that's the book. Here is Jillian Michaels. You guys remember Jillian Michaels? She was on Fox News last night with Jesse Waters talking about the nomination regarding RFK. Jillian Michaels, former. She's a trainer. She's a celebrity trainer. She's also was on The Biggest Loser, the weight loss show. I believe it was on NBC or something like that. But she was a huge Bobby supporter. And here's what she had to say.
Clean lifestyle, then they're not going to make as much money. And they're not going to have as much power in Washington and throughout the rest of the country. It's really about power, isn't it?
Well, it's about power and raw economic incentive. And as much as we can suggest that it's simple, it's not easy, and it's not easy by design. And in fact, it's called structural violence. And it's this collaboration of this toxic quartet, if you will, of the way big farming proliferates these cheap toxic calories. Big food picks up those calories, and they tinker with it a bit more with their food scientists to make it more addictive, to make it omnipresent. Then big pharma catches us on the other side and starts treating all of our sicknesses with all their diseases. And we won't even touch on big insurance and how they play a role because there isn't enough time. But the bottom line is, look at the world. It's this simple. Infertility, highest ever. Early onset cancer diagnosis up 79% over the last 3 decades. 74% of adults in America are overweight and obese. We need change. We need it now. What they're doing isn't working, and it's not working on purpose because it's profitable for the very few. And it's bankrupting Americans. It's the number one cause of bankruptcy is a health-related condition, and it's killing them. If you're afraid of RFK, you've lost your mind. Take a back seat. Let the professionals in this space handle it, and thank God when it starts improving. Period.
What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? Jillian Michaels has been on point lately because she's a huge Bobby supporter. She's a huge Bobby supporter, specifically around food. She's very holistic when it comes to food and things like that. Milf says, I got an issue when I think about that. RFK is for healthy lifestyle, which is totally important, but how will he gain and deliver organic food to the entire nation? There was a statistic out. I believe it was somebody in the chat might know this, but there was the cost of insurance for Ozempic, which is originally a diabetic medicine, that he was saying that with that amount of money that has been spent on the research and development and the cost to provide Ozempic to people either with diabetes or non-diabetes, they could provide 3 healthy whole meals to everybody in the United States. I'll have to pull up that statistic, but somebody might know that. Bright Star says high fructose corn syrup is in everything. Yes, it is. And it's highly addictive. Highly addictive. I'm so glad for RFK that he can influence America now. Yep. Absolutely. So the mainstream media is freaking out over this pick. And here is our favorite, at least my favorite CNN commentary, Scott Jennings talking about this pick.
Actually honest, there's really no good reason why Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr. should be HHS secretary. An advisor, a confidant, somebody who talks to the president and advises, but there's no managerial experience in his resume. There's nothing that says he is qualified to do this job that is in charge of the health of all of us, all these different lanes. If he has views and has insights around food sources, around vaccines, then those should be given in advisory roles.
Why?
Because
what were the qualifications of the previous ones?
Well, I think it's important to always remember that you put yourself. Say that again.
What were the management qualifications? I mean, Xavier Becerra.
I'm not talking about the previous. I'm looking forward.
But you're calling into question whether he could actually do this job, and I think it's
absolutely. I think America is now, and I think
it's important to discuss it because Xavier Becerra was just a lawyer and a politician with no management experience.
So does two negatives, two wrongs make a right?
Sylvia Burwell was a Walmart lobbyist. Donna Shalala was a university person. Look,
RFK Jr. is a nut.
Okay, so that's different than what you just said. You just said he doesn't possess the requisite managerial experience, but then we get to the real issue here, which is you want to insult the man, which is your right to do because you opposed him in the election. But you, doctor, are raising the issues that he has been raising, and I think they're appropriate questions to raise. I don't know whether he can be confirmed or not. The vaccine stuff at the table is obviously going to be the flashpoint of this hearing. But I'll tell you one thing. This whole issue of the CDC and these public health agencies, look, public trust in the health regime in this country is as low as it's ever been. But why? It's because of COVID, right? Because of school closures, because of mask mandates, because this country was let me just finish. Because this country was drugged through a bunch of condescending and heavy-handed mandates that all turned out to be garbage, and that's why it's low. And the questions are valid.
And RFK is the answer to all of that.
Yeah. But dude, RFK helped promote the assault on the CDC that lowered the disinformation that led to CDC more than a million deaths, Scott. More than 1 million deaths in the United States, higher than any other industrialized nation per capita. That's the result of failed policies, the demonization of the conspiracy theories.
Whose policies?
All right, under the Trump administration.
John, let me let.
This has the media has been in an uproar because they know that they are going to lose money. They know that they're going to lose money. Deb says Scott Jennings is too smart for CNN, but he brings the ratings in, so they're going to keep him, right? He brings the ratings in just for comments like this. He brings those ratings in. Airdrie says GLP-1 for the right type 2 diabetes is absolutely a game changer, and I agree with that. I agree. It gets funky when they start prescribing semaglutide and Ozempic to individuals that don't necessarily need it. We see that with all the celebrities. They have Ozempic face. They have Ozempic face. Airdrie also said it's the seed oils too. 1990, everyone started getting fat when they moved from beef tallow. Yes, 100%. The seed oils are mass manufactured. Some of them are byproducts of actual oil that you can put in your vehicle. So I agree with that. Cindy says, or MILF, yes. So Cindy said, speaking about A1C and the Ozempic, MILF and coffee avoid sugars worse than cocaine. Yeah, actually, I was at, I have a little story about the sugar. I was at a theme park, and I don't know if I was at a theme park. I was somewhere, and this child was probably, I don't know, a few years old, probably never had sugar before. And the parent gave the kid like a sip of the soda, and immediately, like, you see it, his eyes lit up, and he was like, it's crazy. It's crazy what sugar does, especially these high processed sugars. I know Justin was saying that he makes his bread, all these other things. I'm excited for this administration. I truly, truly am. What are seed oils? So seed oils are in a lot of foods, like, you know, canola oils, soy oil, a lot of these byproducts that aren't necessarily processed in our gut the best. At least in my opinion, extra virgin olive oil, the best kind of coconut oil, best kind of ability to process. They're cooking oils. Deb says they're cooking oils, and they're also in a lot of food. If you look on the back of a bag of chips, for example, when you go to the grocery store, an oil is either anywhere from the first to fourth ingredient in those products. Kathy says, I use good old-fashioned lard. Yep, absolutely. Simon says, Fauci is a goon. Absolutely, absolutely. I do. What a fantastic name, MILF and Coffee. MILF and Coffee. It's great. Justin says, make it so you can sue them again and they'll change things fast. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jenny's use extra virgin olive oil. Absolutely. Fauci is a communist. My grandmother always bought grapeseed oil, which is very fattening. Yep. All right. I am going to jump on out of here. But I appreciate all of you guys in the chat, the live chat. This is awesome. I truly, truly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section. I'd love to know, if you're catching this on the replay, what you think about the RFK pick and the lawsuit with Donald Trump and CNN for that 60 Minutes interview. And then the green news scam of Medicare and Medicaid. All these things are going up. But let me know what you think about that. Drop that in the comment section down below. Shout out to all the moderators, some of the best moderators on the YouTubes, and shout out to the best chat on YouTube. MILF and Coffee, I'm going to say it one more time before I sign off. MILF and Coffee. I love it. Shout out to everybody watching. Really appreciate you. Drop your comments down below, and I will catch you guys on the next one.